case be reinstated. Malema initially faced charges in relation to a Limpopo government tender worth more than 40 million rand that was awarded to On Point Engineering to build roads and bridges in the province. The former public protector found evidence that Malema improperly benefited as money from the tender was paid from On Point to his family trust. She handed over evidence to the Hawks, but the case was eventually struck off the roll in 2015 after it dragged on and one of Malema's co-accused fell ill. Well, the National Prosecuting Authority says it's still investigating and Afriforum is interfering with its work. Malema says bring it on. To discuss, we're joined by the EFF's lawyer advocate Mpofu. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Mpofu. So he not only said bring it on, but Julius Malema has suggested that this is a racially motivated prosecution. We did a poll yesterday and I must say a lot of our viewers actually agreed with that. But why does this have to be a racial issue?
No, because the motive is clearly linked to our call for land expropriation without compensation. You must remember that this is the second time that Afriforum talks about private prosecution. Last year they spoke about private prosecution relating to utterances in respect of the land question. So I don't think anyone is fooled. And so is it a matter of getting Julius Malema out of the way? Yeah, absolutely. It's just really, I think we understand their pain because I think they feel that the land question is now getting prominence, which it should. And they basically don't know what to do. And the reason why it's so clear that this is politically motivated is the fact that from a legal point of view, it's a complete non-starter. It actually doesn't make sense. It's actually embarrassing that somebody like Gerrie Nel can be associated with a call that clearly has no legal basis. Because from a legal point of view, there are two stumbling blocks that they will have. One is that in terms of the applicable law, they themselves would have to be the victims of such a crime to qualify for...
Or they can represent a victim if they find one.
Well, if they found one, but they don't seem... They must find one before they call the press conference, so to speak. So they can't just say that they are going to bring a private prosecution. That's the first thing. The second thing, of course, is that there must be a certificate, what we lawyers call a nolle prosequi certificate, an indication that the NPA is not going to prosecute. Now, the NPA has come out clearly and said that there has been correspondence between it and Afriforum, in which they told them that they will make a decision one way or the other in August. So to call a press conference in April when you've been told that the trigger event will only happen in August is completely nonsensical.
But why the aggressive response? If there's no merit to this case at all, and Julius Malema is innocent, why wouldn't he welcome a prosecution in whatever form it comes? Because it's a way to clear his name. Limpopo, the claims have been hanging around for a while. Why the aggressive response?
Well, that's because we don't live in a banana republic. This is a constitutional state. How do I clear my... If someone accuses me of stealing your pen now, and I say I'll go and clear myself in a kangaroo court, that is unlawful. What is that?
But ultimately, he will go to a court of law in this country. Do you not believe in our justice system, which you are a part of?
No, of course. But if the NPA decides to prosecute, as I've just told you that the NPA is going to make a decision in August. If the NPA, the judge, if you listen to what the judge said when the charges were struck off the roll, the judge said he was very furious and he said, this accused person has been coming here in and out diligently, no prosecution, no movement. I'm now striking the thing off the roll. If the NPA one day gets its act together, they can always reinstate the charges. And that is our law. Our law is that if charges are withdrawn, as opposed to you being acquitted, then they can always be reinstated. We have no problem with that. In fact, we will welcome it if it happens.
So Julius Malema has nothing to fear?
No, absolutely not. Bring it on means exactly that. If you don't know, bring it on means bring it on. In other words, let it happen. But it must happen all we are saying is that it must happen in a lawful way with the NPA, not some bunch of racists who want to pursue their own nefarious ends to do with political motives and grudges about the land question. And our message to them, the aggression is to say to them, the land question is not going to go away. That is here to stay. They must get over it or get therapy or whatever. But, it's not going to go away. This issue is on the cards and it is going to be resolved. We are going to get our land back, whether they like it or not. So to come and throw some tantrums which don't make legal sense is not going to assist them.
For people who are just getting their head around this issue, On Point Engineering was awarded a tender in Limpopo province. Money was paid into Ratanang Trust, Malema's family trust. He doesn't deny that, but he says it was an investment, so kind of a shareholder payment, not corrupt activity.
Yeah, look, I don't know about the merits of the case. The issue we're saying is a matter of principle, which is that it doesn't matter whether he's accused of killing 1 million people, but the law must take its course. The NPA, which is the body that is charged with protecting our criminal prosecution agency, must do what it has to do. If you are a private citizen, for you to do that, the law says you must have a special and peculiar interest in the matter, or you must be a person acting on, or you must be a husband or a wife of the person who's a victim, or you must be acting on behalf of a lunatic. And we hope that doesn't mean the lunatic fringe that Afriforum is. But Gerrie Nel, speaking for him, he has actually just disqualified himself from prosecuting the case, because by associating himself with his employer Afriforum and participating in the press conference for doing this, it means he is now ruled himself out. So it's a stupid, legally speaking, from a legal point of view, they've either had very bad legal advice or it's a stupid legal strategy to follow, just as a lawyer. But clearly this is not a legal thing. It's a political campaign to tarnish the image of the EFF or to get back at us for calling for the land
okay, so we will follow and see what happens with interest, obviously. Can we
well, I can tell you, I can help you, nothing is going to happen. So you're not going to follow anything, because there will never be a private prosecution by Afriforum, because they don't qualify to do it legally.
So we wait till August or October, unless Afriforum finds something to do in the meantime.
Yeah, and actually, Kali Krill, I think his name is, I was with him in a radio interview yesterday. And he, I think, inadvertently let it out that actually what they are doing is not to seek a private prosecution. They are seeking to put undue pressure on the NPA, hoping that it will prosecute.
And didn't it work in the case of Duduzane Zuma? They did ask for that certificate of non-prosecution.
No, but that's another...
The next thing, the Sean Abrams decided to prosecute.
But you see, that's another stupid legal strategy, because if they wanted to do that, then they should have waited until the certificate. The difference between this case and Duduzane's case is that in the case of Duduzane, there was a nolle prosequi certificate, so it qualified. Now, think about it. If the NPA in August now decides to prosecute Malema, everyone is going to say, oh, well, that's because there's been undue pressure by Afriforum. So they are actually undoing their own cause. They should just chill, wait, and let the law take its course. Because now Malema might have a ground to say, well, I'm not being prosecuted because there's a case. I'm being prosecuted because Afriforum has put undue pressure. So it really doesn't make sense. I don't know who advises these people.
All right, so let's move to another matter. So Julius Malema says he's innocent of any corruption in Limpopo, but you are targeting, as a party, Supra Mahumapelo, accusing him of corrupt activity in the Northwest. Just tell me what you think of this man that is at the center of these violent demonstrations this week.
Well, Supra Mahumapelo, who goes by the name of Black Jesus in the Northwest, is a corrupt Gupta Lekki. He himself was part of the so-called Premier League, if you remember, which is, no less than Colin Maine, otherwise known as Oros, has said that he was taken by Supra Mahumapelo to the Gupta compound and inducted there into corrupt activities. So you can't have a better
he said he was introduced,
Yes, better proof than that. Well, he was making some confession last week about it. So it's clear The second issue is that, for the EFF, we've declared this year the year of public health, focus on public health. And it's very telling that this crisis in the Northwest now erupts from the point of view of the corrupt health tenders that were given to the Guptas. But the third and most important point is that the EFF, we warned the ANC about this. Only 2 weeks ago, we said, we know the feelings of the people on the ground. This man has lost the confidence of the people of the Northwest. Let him be removed. If they had listened to the EFF then, instead of playing legal gymnastics around the vote and so on, this crisis and the destruction of property and the violence that you see would have been averted. Because it was only last week. You might remember that the vote had to be postponed to allow us to go to court to seek that the vote should happen by secret ballot. Now, in that interim period, the people were not prepared to wait for weeks of legalities. And look what has happened.
Do you believe there's any chance you would have got the numbers if there was a vote of no confidence?
Certainly, yeah. No. I mean, look, the people who are causing the mayhem right now are ANC members, and they're not even hiding it. They're doing it in ANC T-shirts. And we had an assurance from ANC members in the legislature that they were going to vote with the EFF to remove Supra. The reason why we wanted it to be on secret ballot was to protect those people. But I can tell you now that some of them had said that even if it's open ballot, they're still going to vote against Supra. But obviously some of them would have been concerned about the consequences and disciplinary action.
Well, final question. He says he's the victim of a political conspiracy from within the ANC because they want to go after people that supported Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. And I think he specifically mentioned the EFF because of that push for a vote of no confidence. So you're not involved at all in some political conspiracy in the Northwest?
No, he's confused. I mean, why would we have any grudge? What do we care about Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma? We don't care for Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. We don't care for Cyril Ramaphosa for that matter.
Any of the push against him?
But how could the only way we could be behind any push against him would be us colluding with Cyril Ramaphosa, the butcher of Marikana. How are we going to collude with such a person? We don't care for Cyril Ramaphosa or Nkosazana Zuma or the ANC. Actually, what we're going to do is to make sure that the people of the Northwest are relieved of any of them. Supra, Cyril, Nkosazana, the works, Zuma, Gupta, all of them are the ones who are causing our people to suffer.
All right, thank you for your time this evening. The EFF's National Chairperson, Advocate Gerrie Nel.